Today, I want to talk to you about the last lesson my dad ever taught me. And it's a lesson on love. It's the lesson I firmly believe can make the difference between you getting the love you want in this lifetime or not getting it. And it happened the day after he passed away. Yesterday would have been my dad's 79th birthday. And in the morning, when I woke up, I started thinking, how would we celebrate if he were still here? And I thought, well, he was a voracious eater. He loved food. It was one of the main things in his life. And we probably would have gone to either sushi, and he enjoyed all sorts of sushi, but ikura, the little piece that has the salmon, big eggs on top, was his favorite. Or we would have gone to another one of his favorite restaurants to have a big filet mignon with a baked potato with everything on it, as he liked to say. I've been thinking a lot about him. I've been thinking a lot about the possibility, the incredible experience of sitting down across the room from him and having a conversation. He left at 65, way too young. Never imagined that would happen, but that's when he left. And I would love to every now and then sit down over coffee, latte. He used to like that, and talk about life, talk about meaning, talk about experiences, ask him questions, say, Dad, what should I do here? And we can't have that conversation. But what we can have is typically with someone who's no longer here, we can either have an imaginary conversation or we can go within and ask ourselves, what would he or she do given what he did in his life? So, what I want to share with you today is the lesson I learned from him the day after he passed away that I firmly believe is his way of passing on this to me because I experienced it as a very specific time stopping experience when when this whole thing happened, and I'll share in a second. Because I feel getting this in your heart, in your bones, in your core will make the difference between you getting the love that you want, experiencing it, or not doing what it takes to get it. Because the truth is, we get to think that love is this natural thing we all get to experience without working at it. But the truth is, the type of love most people seek these days, which is profound, emotionally, spiritually, intellectually, sexually, of all different kinds, all that kind of love that we're seeking with a partner requires a lot more than just winging it, requires learning some skills, requires understanding how to communicate, express, share. So, because it's something very challenging, because it's not the norm of what most people experience, unless you have a strong, firm, clear, compelling, exciting, heart opening why, you may not be able to go the distance. You may not be willing to do what it takes because why would you do that for something that is not as compelling as it really could be? It's too easy to throw in the towel. It's too easy to say love's not on the cards for me. It's too easy to say this thing doesn't work or online dating is rigged or men this and that. And you might be partially true in some things, but there's another version of you that can actually get what you want. So here's what it happened, and I'll tie it up. I promise you, if you stay with me until the end, I'll tie the whole thing up, and this might be the most valuable video of mine you watch this year. Here's how it happened. My dad passed away on a Wednesday night. Incidentally, that night in February was the coldest for that specific day night on record for the last, I think, 100 years. It was really, really cold here in Austin. I went to sleep feeling numb and sad and not even knowing what to think. The next morning, I woke up. Obviously, at that time, I didn't have my own business. I was working for a startup. I obviously didn't go to work, went to see my mom. And here's how it all developed. I entered the house and I was feeling not even sure what to expect. And the thing that broke me the most was I opened up his room. The door was closed. I opened up my dad's room and I saw his bed with white, soft sheets, sun coming in from the glass doors that were on his right hand side, and it was empty. And that's the moment where it punched me in heart, spirit, and soul that he in form physically here, he's no longer here. I broke down in a way I haven't before or since. It was one of the hardest moments of my life. But then after a few hours, sitting down, breathing, thinking, reminiscing, I was helping my mom to do the cleanup of some of his stuff because my uncle was leaving and we needed to give him some clothes because he wanted to take some of clothes with to have him with him to feel close to him. So I opened up one of his drawers in his bathroom and I see his wallet. And I open up the wallet after taking a deep breath because I don't know what I'm going to find there. And I found only two things. I found a little picture of an Indian avatar saint that my grandfather used to have a great devotion for and had passed it on to my dad. And I also found a single dollar bill. Now, for most people, this would be okay, great, found nothing there. What's the story? But that moment when I opened the wallet and I saw that, something shifted in me. I felt something moving. There was something that was happening in that moment. And at least in my experience, I interpreted one of those life stops and I feel something compelling that I don't fully understand. And then I got it in like 2 seconds. And here's what I got from that. He's a guy who worked so hard in his life to provide, not just for himself, for others, for his family. He's the kind of person that if he was eating something and you said, I like it, he would give it to you. He bought a new shirt and you said, hey, Dad, I like the new shirt. He would take it off and give it to you if he could, you know? So he worked really, really hard, spent countless hours at the office making his business work, went through ups and downs. But the day he left, he couldn't take a single material thing with him. I know we get this in concept, but I just viscerally got the message. He couldn't even take that one single symbolic dollar bill that he found there. But here's what he did take. He took all the love he gave to my mother, to my siblings, to his family, obviously to me, and all the love he received back, all the support, all the compassion, all the unquantifiable experiences in life that are the truth of why we are really here. Now, here's what I think about this. My mom and him didn't have a perfect relationship, but they loved each other deeply through their imperfections, through their ups and downs, through their being together for 30 something years. They loved each other deeply. I don't know much, but here's what I do know. Reaching the end of your life while holding the hand of the human being you love most, your partner, in whichever form you design that to be, taking your last breath while being with a person who fully gets you, understands you, loves you, admires you, respects you devotionally, is something worth experiencing. I don't know where you are right now in your life. I don't know if you're struggling to connect with someone and you've almost given up. I don't know if you're in the first stages of meeting a person and you're finding it really hard to not lose yourself in the process or to express your needs or to understand or not feel anxious. I don't know if you've partially had to take a step back and you think that online dating doesn't work and offline dating doesn't work. I don't know if you're someone who has experienced heartbreak or betrayal and is trying to figure out if and how to put yourself out there. So my invitation is that you remind yourself of the truth, which is the only reason you're here is to love and to get love back in return. And if you had 1 week to live, you wouldn't spend it doing anything other than probably connecting with people you love most because that's the most meaningful experience in this lifetime. So if you, like myself, are someone who wants intimacy, not just of the kind of the fraternal kind or with children, but you want deep intimacy with another human being, it is worth going for it full force. It is worth exploring how to get it. It's worth exploring going at it again. It's worth figuring out how to communicate, how to express, how to learn the skills that are not just feelings that can get you there. Because most people make the mistake of going for what they think they can get or not understanding how to get there. So saying, well, if I don't know how to get there, then maybe I won't go for it. But I think if you start first with this, the meaning, I am committed to experiencing devotional love in this lifetime, because at the end of my life, if possible, if I have the luxury and the blessing of being able to hold hands with a human being who's been there by my side, I want that experience. If you understand the strong why, then figuring out the how is much more possible. If you don't have a super strong why, then this whole journey might be really, really challenging. Hope this is meaningful, hopeful, and insightful for you. If you find this helpful, there's two things I have for you. Number one, click like and subscribe, because you'll be able to continue watching much more of this kind of content that helps you get where you want in terms of love and intimacy without games or manipulation or gimmicks or any silly things like that. Two, if you're a single woman who's watching this, I'd be willing to bet you're not aware of your root cause why you're still single. So I've put together a quiz you can take in 60 seconds that will show you the number one reason you're still single, and also tell you what you can do based on that. So if you go to the first link in the description, you'll see a page that looks like this. Answer a few simple questions, and you'll have within 60 seconds the answer to the elusive question why you're still single, but also a custom report based on your blind spot that will show you the first specific step you can take today to get what you want in a fraction of the time. Hold this message to heart and ask yourself a question: what would I be willing to give for that kind of love, for that kind of experience? What would I be willing to risk? What would I be willing to learn? And if you find it something meaningful, then go for it full force. Have an amazing day.